Good morning, everyone. Welcome. This is the Breaking Free Show, and I am Marilyn Shannon, and I am so happy to be here with you today. Hope you're all doing well and enjoying your fall wherever you are. Where I am in North Carolina, it's a little bit warmer than I can remember November being, but I'm enjoying it nonetheless. But also, there's a little freakiness to the warmth. Anyway, you know what the Breaking Free Show is all about, right? It's about accessing our freedom, whether it's a little bit at a time or a whole chunk at a time. But there's so many places and so many ways that we get to chip away at our personal freedoms, whether that is the way we work, whether that is in relationship, whether that is what we eat, how we use technology, how we feel, how we think, where we are spiritually, how we listen to the world around us, how we have our relationship with ourselves, and having personal freedom to choose to think the way you want to think, to be able to express yourself the way you want to express is very important. And with our show, we like to bring you people, ideas, philosophies, notions, thoughts, actions, businesses, desires from all around the world so that you get to choose. This is a smorgasbord, a buffet of information, so that you then can sit back and say, that feels right to me. That doesn't feel right to me. I have an idea like that. Maybe I can pursue mine. Or, oh, that person has an interesting story similar to mine. And with all of these ideas and with all of these thoughts and notions and shows, you get to be the person you want to be, whatever that looks like. So I am delighted that you're here today. And any opportunity you have and you want to connect with us, please feel free. You can come in our chat, so you can put your name, nickname, whatever you like under our window, under the video, and put your name there, and you can comment, ask questions, make a statement, whatever you like. And then also you can call in to 919-518-9773, and that comes right into the studio. And one more way, you can come in on Skype voice. That is not video, that is voice. So it don't matter how you look, don't matter. We don't care anyway, do we? So just come in there. Computers, and that's plural, then the number 2K voice. Anytime you want to make a comment, ask a question, whatever. It takes multiple heads. I have one head, you have another head, and together we have all this great information. So I don't have all the questions and I don't have all the answers. So I would love to have you join us anytime you want. So before we get on with and introducing our guests, I want to say hi to Amnon,
Hello,
our
Marilyn.
producer. How are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
I'm good. Still
Good.
missing you, Amnon.
Well, that's sooner or later you'll be back here.
Sooner or later. It would be nice because you should see what I have to do to my house to get ready for this show.
Yep, but
But
you become
anyway,
self-sufficient. Then
yeah,
that's pretty good.
it's worth it though, I'll tell you.
Yep.
So let me introduce my guest, and I'm really excited about this. I'm excited about every guest, but this one I'm really excited about too. So Yoichi Utebi, welcome to our show all the way from Japan.
Hi, thank you so much for having me on the show tonight.
Oh, it's a pleasure. And what time is it there?
It's 3 a.m.
3 a.m.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you are a trooper. So thank you so much for being
Thank
up
you. Thank
and
you.
willing to share with us today. Thank you.
Thank you so
So
much.
tell us who you are first.
Okay, so my name is Yoichi Utebi. I'm a movie producer currently. So the reason why I'm here is because I guess we have released a couple movies this year. It's called Twice Born and also The Real Exorcist. So maybe we can talk about the movie and the background of the movie. And I'm also a staff of an organization called Happy Science. I've been in staff for about 10 years. And so this movie is produced by Happy Science. And I'm also the executive vice president of a production company called HS Productions, which is located in Los Angeles. So currently I'm in Japan, but I kind of travel back and forth between LA and Japan because LA is the place where the movies are. So that's basically my the current status. I used to be in IT business, in IT marketing for about 10, 15 years before I joined Happy Science 10 years ago.
So does Happy Science, so your movie company, your film company, is it owned? Is it part of Happy Science, or is it yours directly?
Okay, so the HS production is actually, HS means Happy Science, like, HS. So it is owned by Happy Science.
Okay, so
Correct.
now before we get into the movies and all the
Mhm.
things that you do with that, can you give us some idea of what Happy Science is?
Sure. So Happy Science was established about 30 years ago, 1986. The founder's name is Ryuho Okawa. Ryuho Okawa. And so Happy Science been around over 30 years. It's a really, really well established spiritual movement in Japan today. It's one of the most influential and one of the largest spiritual movement in Japan today. And it's spreading across to the world. We have branches and activities going on in over 120 or 30 countries so far. And the basic idea is Riho Okawa established Happy Science because he was getting a lot of revelation and messaging from the heavenly world, and he wanted to share that with the world to bring happiness to everybody in our everyday life, and grow ourselves as a spiritual beings and souls, bringing happiness to the world. That's our mission is. Just keep very short summary, I guess.
So happiness is part of spirituality.
Of course,
And
happiness and love is everything. Right?
so tell me, so in your movement, how do you bring happiness through your movement into the world?
That's a very good question, because thought manifest. We all know that, right? Thought manifest. Whatever we have in our mind will manifest out to the world. It takes some time, you know. So it's almost like a power of attraction, laws of attraction. What you think every day is going to become the reality. It's going to take some time, but it will. So I think that's a very, very important concept in Happy Science. So the inner happiness is very important. You have to be truly happy, from inside yourself, in order to bring happiness to the world. So even how much you want to share and be good to society, part of society, if you're not really, really happy with the soul and the spiritually, you won't be able to share that happiness with other people. So the most important thing is to have a happiness, find true happiness within yourself first, and at the same time that will bring happiness to the world. So that's really, really basic like pillar of Happy Science. So if you want to study Ryuho Oka's teachings, there's only one condition. Do you want to explore your mind and try to find the true happiness within yourself? That's the first thing that we ask, I guess. So that's very basic idea of Happy Science.
So can you define happiness?
Happiness, happiness is something that, so there's 4 pillars in Happy Science. It's called love, wisdom, self-reflection, and progress. It's love, wisdom, self-reflection, progress. And these 4 pillars is like the 4 core ideas of life, we believe. Love is not to take. We know that. Jesus taught us 2,000 years ago. Buddha taught us 2,500 years ago. Love is not to take from somebody. Is not something that you want from somebody, but it is to give and to share. So that's the basic idea of love. But how many people are actually doing that today? We haven't still learned what true love is, and it is not to take, but it is to give. So that is a very important idea. For you to become happy, you have to understand what love is. That's like a really, really basic idea of us as human nature, but I think we still are not getting it. So that's very important. Love is not to take, but it is to give for others. But at the same time, you need wisdom, right? Because you have to be not being smart and intellectual in a different, but in different way. Wisdom is a little bit different in intellect. I think wisdom is something that's you learn from your experiences, and you learn from reading the books. You learn by talking with people and working, becoming part of a society, and also learning the spiritual reality. There's a lot of great figures that talks about the spirituality of this life. So studying everything all together, that kind of becomes wisdom in yourself. So always seeking wisdom, studying hard is very important. So you have to be a person of giving love, but also at the same time, accumulate the wisdom. Then what happens is that you need to self-reflect upon yourself. How many people really think about that? How many people really think about what I've done today? How was I? How am I today? How is my spiritual level? Because basically, there's so many things outward, in outward today, but outside of us now, we have a tendency to look everything out into the world and see, so what is she thinking, what is he thinking about me, how am I looking today from outer world. But it's important that you go into yourself and really look into yourself and you know ask yourself, how am I doing today. So self-reflection is very important, because if you find something wrong from God's eye, Buddha's eye, then you need to fix it. You need to fix it little by little. By doing that, what happens? You have love, wisdom, and self-reflection, and eventually your soul is going to become a better person, of course, right? Because that's what you're pursuing, to become a better person. So that's what we call progress. So once your soul start to develop and evolve to become a better person, a better part of society, you'll become happier and happier. And at the same time, you'll be able to bring happiness to the people around you, your family, your co-workers, society, neighbors, etc. So I'm sorry, I took a little long to talk about it, but I think those 4 pillars are very important. And that's
No,
how
no, no. I'm glad you
become,
did. And no,
that's
no,
how
no.
you find true happiness. Yeah.
So, what's the difference between this spiritual movement and another one? And I mean, I read a little bit where you use the truth and Buddha.
Mm-hmm.
And so, what's the difference between this one and another one that is based in happiness and joy
Mm-hmm.
and
Sure. So the uniqueness about Happy Science is about Riho Okawa. He's the founder of Happy Science. He is the clairvoyant. Okay, he can. He's a channeler, I guess you want to call it. A lot of people call medium, channeler, clairvoyant, the different types of names. He is one of those the spiritual guru, I guess you want to put it that way. And he has a very strong spiritual power. So when he in 1981, when he was 24, that's when he started to receive all the messages from heaven, and he accumulated that for about 6 years. So he did not establish Happy Science until 1986. So by the time he established Happy Science, he had so much wisdom and the truth, the spiritual truth that he studied. So he he was like he had this calling that it's time for you to go out now to the world and share this spiritual truth about the reality of this world and in another world. What happens after we die? Where do we go back to? The reason why we are here today. How do we come down to the earth? And what's the reason, the purpose? All these fundamental questions, like why we are here, where do we come from, where are we going? All the answers is here. So we want to share that with the people around the world. I think that's one of the biggest difference when we talk about happiness. It's important to talk about the structure of how to become happy, but at the same time, I think the happiness has to be the happiness to penetrate from this world to the other world. You think the world is going to end when you end your life here, then that's not true happiness. You have to think beyond this world. I guess people call it reincarnation, right? Some people call reincarnation is the laws of karma. that doesn't end in just this 80, 70, 100 years on this earth, but it continues on. So that's a very important aspect of happy science, I think.
So is it that he had the powers and believed that all of his disciples or all the followers would have the powers as well? They needed to study and they could have the powers as well? Or does happy science look upon him as the teacher with the superpowers and others just like kind of follow? How does that work?
So yeah, of course, he's a teacher. He's a teacher for us. So there's 2,700 books out there. He wrote over 2,700 books in past 30 years, and those books has been bestseller, number one bestseller in Japan for consecutive, I don't know, 20 years or so. So he's really, really established writer as well and author. So a lot of people, study his or just read and try to accumulate some of his wisdoms. So of course, by little, uh, we practice, like I practice his teachings. So hopefully, my souls will become a better person each day. And I think we all have the same ability, uh, but it depending on the level of your trainings, I guess. Maybe people are here, some people are here, but some people are here, some people are here. And also that kind of relates to the reincarnation of your soul. So it's not just about this lifetime, but again, studying the truth this lifetime is also very important as well, I think. So, I think God is, God created us as humans. Each one of us is part of God and part of the light of God. That's a belief. I guess we call it God's nature or Buddha nature within ourselves. So we all have the same essence as a higher God, spiritual beings. It's just that it takes time to manifest, and sometimes it takes thousands and thousands of years, I guess. But we're all walking towards God, I think.
So is it a religion, or does it take other parts of other religions and
Mm-hmm.
and connects them? I mean, where is the science? Is the
Yes.
science in taking the other religions and connecting them and
Mm-hmm.
kind of making them come alive?
Right,
I'm
right.
curious.
Yeah, that's very good. I was raised as a Christian. I'm a Protestant. It's kind of rare for me to raise as Protestants, a Japanese family. So I'm a Jesus believer, a Jesus lover. I'm still am today. But so happy science's idea is that all the religion come from one source, and I think that's true because Jesus was born on this earth 2,000 years ago in Middle East because he was there, and at that time he preached the importance of the truth, the spiritual truth, to the people of them. And Muhammad was born in different era. Buddha was born in different era, in different time, in places. So of course the teaching is going to be a little different, right? It's going to be a little different, but the core essence of teaching is the same. So there's no reason why we need to fight over religion, because all essence should be coming from one source, and we believe in that. And so the God, it is a religion, because we started off as studying the truth about how all the religions are like interwoven to each other, but eventually so the God's name is called El Cantare. I think if you Google up, you probably find it. So El Cantare. El Cantare is like a supreme God of all the gods combined together, so one source. So Riho Oka is part of El Cantare, so descended on earth. That's our belief is, if you make it really short in summary. So you can be a Christian, you can be Muslim. I'm still Christian. It doesn't matter what religion you are in. It's not like you have to leave this and do that. We're all free. Anybody can become a member of Happy Science, and books are there. You can read the study books of Riho Okawa. It's not like, oh, you have to become a member and this is how you're going to be. It's not, it's everything is just so transparent and open. And that's why I love about Happy Science. It's so open and transparent. All the lectures he does becomes a book, and it's in bookstores in Japan. Hundreds of books lined up in bookstores in Japan. So people are free to pick it up and study. And some people really get into it, like myself, because it just so excites me and it makes me a free soul. More you study, you become freer. That's how I feel. So it's totally opposite and like the regular, like ordinary or traditional religion term where everything has to be this way. It's opposite. It kind of goes up, it spreads across to the freeing your soul. So it's a breakthrough, definitely. So that's why I love
And
about it. Yeah.
and that and is that, I mean, and how do you, so Happy Science.
Mm-hmm.
So it's the you know, you can't have, I mean, obviously you can't have spirituality without science, right? You
Right.
can't be
Right.
creative without science. And
That's right.
creativity is,
That's right.
so is that how you,
Yeah.
is that what your link is?
That's
Okay.
right. It's science of happiness.
Mhm.
You have to science happiness. There's a law of the universe. There's a law of the universe, and the laws of the universe is pretty precise if you really think about it. How the earth is created, the moon, the stars, how it evolves around the sun. Everything is so precise to every minute and every second, and that's the laws of the universe. So we're trying to define or figure out or research. There has to be a way for all of us, each one of us can become happy. It doesn't matter where you were born, how you were born, women and men, what color, greed, the education you have, the job you have right now. It doesn't matter. Anybody can become happy. There has to be a law of happiness. So we're trying to, Masaoka has been trying to teach us, this is the law how you become happy. That's why it's been accepted by so many people, because it's such a wide open, uh, I don't know the good way to, perspective, I guess. So anybody can study and apply to their everyday life and figure out how to become happier for who you're today. Yeah. So
So
definitely
I
science of
I listened to Eckhart Tolle many years ago.
happiness.
Yes. And he, talks about, and it was a conference about the pursuit of happiness.
Mm-hmm.
And he came up and he said, there's no such thing as the pursuit of happiness,
Okay.
because happiness is in a moment, right?
Mm-hmm.
Happiness is how you feel in this moment, the
Yep.
experience you're having in this moment. Not to say that um, the enlightenment is
Mm-hmm.
about this, is to get to this moment of happiness, right?
Right. Right.
Right.
Continuous stage of happiness.
Right. Is that what you
Yep.
prescribe
I
to?
100% agree. So like I've been studying Masaoka's teaching for about for a while. I mean, I met Happy Science when I was 1987. I was living in New York. That was the second year when he established Happy Science, and I was lucky to find his book called The Laws of the Sun. I don't have it with me. I could show you, but The Laws of the Sun. So I'm sorry, I lost what I was talking about. So yeah, so
We're talk-
sorry, I lost.
that's interesting because I don't
Yeah,
usually lose it.
shoot, I
But
lost it. Oh my god.
that's okay.
I think
We
about
were
Eckhart
talking
Tolle, right?
about Eckhart Tolle and the
Uh-huh.
pursuit of happiness and having
Happiness.
it be in a moment as
Mm-hmm.
opposed to outside of yourself, right? You
The
have to,
enlightenment part is
and
sure. So
enlightenment. Yes.
yeah, so I've been reading his books, not this through all 30 years. Of course, I was in my IT business, and so I kind of left his books for 10 years and things like that. But so so like I still don't have enlightenment, right? If I did, I would probably know, like, because my mind would not move, and I always calm and stable, and always feel this joy and happiness that's welling up from my inside of me. I don't have that. I go up and down every day. I still do, And that's the human nature, right? And that's the reason why we're here on this earth, is to train our soul, grind our soul, find that the moment that you feel so happy without having anything. How many, so you can, if you can feel that every single day of your life, after you wake up in the morning till you go sleep, the joyfulness wells up from your inside of yourself, being happy, just want to share this happiness with the people around the world, how wonderful that would be. But that's my pursuit. I want to feel that happiness that comes in, up from inside of myself. And that's all I think is that's what faith is all about, is to connect yourself and myself to the true Buddha nature within myself, or the part of God, that light and energy of God that's already inside of me. If I can connect to that every single day, every moment of my life, I think that's probably called enlightenment. But I don't know how I can get it there, and I don't know how many people will get there, but there is a possibility. And I think that'll be wonderful. Yeah, so definitely happiness doesn't continue on, but we are pursuing for that moment, I think.
Right. And the interesting thing is that we make, and I say this a lot, we make life way too complicated in so many
Right.
aspects of our lives. We just
Mm-hmm.
make it so complicated, but that's what's so profound.
Mm-hmm.
It's, I mean, happiness, joy, making life easier, allowing ourselves to make it easier is so much easier than we give it credit for. And that's what's so hard and
Yep,
so profound.
that's
It's
right.
those simple things that
Yep, that's
we
right.
we struggle with.
Mm-hmm. The truth lies in the most simplest form, I think, in life.
Yeah, my passion is listening.
Hmm.
So I listening is the prerequisite for every word and then every action out of a word, because you have to listen to get into something. You have to listen to
Mm-hmm.
access something, to recognize something, to feel something. You have to listen. You have to take in that
Mm-hmm.
information.
Right,
And then you have to listen to know what to do with it.
right,
And then
right.
you have to keep listening to keep knowing
Mm-hmm.
what to do with it.
Yep. So,
And yeah, what were we going to say?
no, I was gonna say, so listening, accepting, diversity, accepting the ideas and concept and what people are talking about, and and I think that's very important. This first thing you need to do is to accept, right? Accept it and listen for what people are saying, what others are saying. But at the same time, you kind of have to select what to observe and what to accept. So you accept it, but sometimes you have to kind of let it go through yourself, because not everything is heavenly energy. So yeah,
Can't
I, I
be.
I
It
agree.
can't
Yep,
be. That's part
yep,
of it. So, and
that's
what you're
right.
saying is the listening to accept and the
Hmm.
listening to know when to let go,
Yep,
or the
yep.
listening to exactly.
That's so important. What you need to choose, and again, so you have to understand what is positive and what is negative when you accept things and listen to things, right? So you have to judge. That's something you have to judge on your own, but accept that is something that is positive, that affect you in positive way for your soul. But if it's going to affect you in negative way for your soul, you have to kind of let it go or reject it. But at the same time, you shouldn't repel it, because you need
You
to
shouldn't be
understand.
what? Wait, I missed that word. You shouldn't be what?
Repel, repel it. You need to kind of accept it, because if you don't, you're never going to understand what that is. So I 100% agree with you. Listening to everything is so important, because you have to accept it first, but then after that you need to judge it.
And that's a listening too.
Yep.
Everything, and then repelling, listening to repel, and
Mm-hmm.
listening to take it back.
That's right.
Right?
That's right.
Because you got to do that too. I mean, everything has
Everything.
the kingpin of
Yes.
listening. Everything.
Mm.
So it's, yeah, exactly. Here's the question, and I want to remind everyone to, I'm so engrossed in talking about this stuff. So just remember, you can call in 919-518-9773, or you can just join us in our chat, ask questions, comment. We'll pick it up from there. And you can also join us on Skype from anywhere in the world. Remember that. Anywhere in the world, you can come in on computers, that's plural, then the number 2K voice, and you can come in on voice and we'll take your questions, your comment, whatever it is. So here is something somebody posted, a friend of mine posted this morning on Facebook, and surprised me because it was just after I started posting about the show. And I said, wow, this must have really interested you. And she said, no, I read this, about Happy Science years ago. So I was really excited, in particular, that I got a chance to know that. So she said, please ask this question. Do you really think, and I did not see this anywhere in the writings or in the description of Happy Science, but Trump is a reincarnation of George Washington. Is that somewhere in some of the writings? Do you know about that?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
So
Could you answer about that?
yeah, so Ryuho Oka can channel anybody in this world. He brings down anybody in this world. So he did speak with the guardian spirit of Trump, and that's when we found out he's reincarnated from George Washington.
So what does that mean? What does that mean as far as Trump is concerned, and being the spirit of George Washington? What does that mean about Trump?
Well, George Washington was the one who, established the United States, right? He's the first president. So we admire and respect George Washington. So yeah, we respect Trump as well. And what he's been doing, there's a lot of good things he's done, bad things he's done. There's so many things going on about Trump, especially today. So I don't really talk about my political view, but what Masaoka Ryuho is saying is that he doesn't predict anything, what's going to happen in the future, but he believes what he's been doing, Trump is doing for the world. We don't want to go into the details about what's happening, because for the United States, and there's so many feelings going on about how people feel about Trump, positive and negative. But as a global perspective, I think one of the biggest challenge we have today is about having faith, liberty, and democracy, right? And when we talk about faith, liberty, and democracy, the biggest threat we have today is China's Communist Party, right? China's ambition to take over the world, right? We all know about that. There's a big threat, especially Japan, because we are very close to China, and they're really coming near us. Hong Kong, Taiwan. If you don't know much about Senkaku Island and kind of the Southern Sea. So they're really getting closer to biggest threat for Asia right now. And so it doesn't matter whether it's Trump or Mr. Biden, President Trump or Mr. Biden, whoever can stop, the I don't know the perfect word, the ambition, I guess we'll put it that way, ambition of China to take over the world with the communist idea. We have to fight that. So if President Trump can do it, I think he should do it. If Mr. Biden takes over Trump, and if he does it, let him do it. It doesn't matter. But we have to fight against Chinese Communist Party, and democracy has to be strong for the world, especially from Japan's perspective and Asia's perspective. That's very important.
Well, I know that there's a lot that we could talk about that, and maybe it'll enter into it when we get into this next piece. Before we talk about the two movies, I mean, there's a lot to talk about with what you just said. Because
yeah,
talk about the pursuit, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. For me personally, I don't see Trump doing that. But it not to
Right.
say that I'm not interested in learning and growing and seeing something else,
Right.
right?
That's right.
I
Right.
don't see that. I see the divider. I see, the bully. I don't see somebody doing that who's in the pursuit of happiness
Right.
and to help everybody do that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Again, this is the different perspectives of life. So, it can go on parallel forever, and it could meet sometimes. So that's why I personally don't like to express political view. So that's why I'm talking about the bigger picture of what the world needs today. And so whoever can do this, it doesn't matter who it is. But somebody has to do, somebody has to, or we have to continue to pursue on to fight this war, if you want to use it, the word
well,
war.
I think the world
Mhm.
needs love.
Yeah.
Period. I think people just people need love. People need to
Yep.
feel love. They need to be loved. They need to experience it. There's a lot of people in this world that have not don't know love.
Right. I agree 100%.
And so, I think that's maybe why your first pillar is love.
Mhm. Right.
I mean, we got to know that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's it.
Without that, it doesn't mean anything.
W- w-
Love
not-
is everything. Love is all we need.
It's
Beatles
it,
says
period.
that.
Right. Period. So again, this friend said, and why bring so much politics into a religion? Was bringing politics into the movement their intention when they established this movement, or did this come later?
Religion, I mean, political party is called Happiness Realization Party, and it came way after, way after. I don't know when it was maybe established, but 10 years ago. Because the happiness, again, it will come from inside of ourselves first, but it has to manifest to the world. So the politics is, when you say politics, I don't know, it sounds a little bit too I don't know how to put it, but politics is reality. In other words, it's not the concept. It's not about the what you think about the perspective, but it's something that you do every day, right? Because you have to bring happiness to everyday life in every detail of society, as a part of society. So that's when politics comes in, to manifest the happiness to reality. And that's how Happiness Realization Party was established, to say the things, say the words that's needed, to bring happiness.
So how do you define politics?
What do you mean?
Well,
How do I?
I would say that, and then after we do this, let's talk about the
Mhm.
movies. I
I'm
mean,
not
you'd
too
have,
good with politics, but go
huh?
ahead. Yes. I'm not too good with politics, but go
Well, it
ahead. I'm
says,
more
I
a
mean,
movie
it
person. So.
distinctly says when I did the research also that, it brought in politics, relationship, all those things. So politics is an unusual word to have part of a spiritual movement that's about love and happiness and wisdom. And so, what's the concept of politics? What's the concept? If you take politics and you embellish it with love
Mm,
and you embellish it with happiness, what is its meaning? It's got to be different than the construct of politics we know today.
yeah, so it's the realization of the true happy world, everyday life. It's a realization. That's what politics is about. It's not about concept. It's not about what you're going to say, but it's about what you do for the people and for your community. So that's what politics is all about. That's what we believe, I guess. I'm not sure, but yeah,
Yeah, I think it's an
yeah.
interesting,
But
maybe
you know
it's
what I'm trying
about
to say, right?
leadership.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's about empowerment. Maybe it's about leadership. Leadership does not have to be, it's not a bad thing. It's a really good,
It's a
leadership
good
is a
thing.
really
You
good
need,
thing.
yeah,
There is
definitely.
a
You
difference
need to
between
have a
leadership and controlling.
right. So leadership is you got to have leadership, of course. Somebody has to lead. That's just the way it is. It's a structure, of life. So politics, you need to have a good leadership, happiness, realization.
Right.
Leadership,
Well, I think
guess.
that's important. Just like
Yeah,
money. Nothing wrong with money,
that's right.
right? I
It can
mean,
be.
you can be part of a spiritual movement and like money,
Yeah, you need
right?
money, of course. In order for the organization to grow, of course, you're gonna need a thing called money.
Right.
But it's money is not it's a bad thing. It could be a good thing, and it could be a bad thing. It depends on how it's being used, right? So you need to have a a, a building, of course. You need to have a church in Christianity, right? You need to have a church. Happy Science has a branch offices and branches around. We have 500 branches in Japan, and each branches is its actual building. So in order to create that, you're gonna need funding. So to spread what's right and what's what needs to be spread, sometimes you need funding in order to help the spreading, right? So money could be a good thing. I agree 100%.
Yeah, I think it's like it's how we look at things, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's how we the words we choose and the expression that we attach, the intentions we attach to things. So hold on one second. So Amnon, you have my books? Here we go. My babies. Well, my other babies. Here's my four, and now I'm working on the fifth. So in just one afternoon, listening to the hearts of men, beautiful stories about men who are sharing emotion, are parenting, fathers, are, CEOs of companies. They share their stories of how they are emotional and working through this life. Next one is Twins, great book about relationship. If you want to understand relationships and how individuals relate to each other and pass conflict, get through conflict, that's it. Millennials, they're wonderful. Great stories about what they're doing, how they're doing it. And now, in just one afternoon, listening to the hearts of people impacted by opioid addiction, talks to mothers, fathers, girlfriends, current users, those in recovery, just a whole myriad of individuals who have personal experience with opioid use, and they share from their heart. So you want to understand the epidemic and the crisis and who these people are. This is a great book. All of them are on Amazon, both print and ebook, and soon will be Black fathers, listening to the hearts of Black fathers. We got to understand each other and get through our judgments. Okay, so now talk to me about about the movies that you are producing. Tell us about those.
Okay, so yes, the latest movie is called Twice Born. Twice Born is all these movies are it's a Japanese movie. It's a spiritual and inspirational movie, and the latest one is called Twice Born. And we just finished the limited release in U.S. theaters. We were lucky that the movie was on the AMC theaters because AMC is still
What's
running.
it about?
It's about it's the biographical. It's a biographical picture. Biographical picture. It's based on true story about Riho Okawa that we just been talking about, and how he was born and how he was raised as a child. How he went through his college stages, and all the business times that he went through, and how he was getting calling from heaven, and how he woken up to the truth and decided to stand up on his own and start this movement called Happy Science. And the movie ends actually at the moment where he's standing in front of 50,000 people in Tokyo Dome in 1991. That's when Happy Science really started to grow from Tokyo Dome. So it's a biographical picture of Riho Oka.
Is he still alive?
Of course, he's
Yeah.
64 right now.
So he's still young.
Young, yes, yes.
He's young. So let me ask you a really important question. Why do I care? Why
Why do
does this
you care?
matter? Tell me why this should matter.
Because this movie is not just about his biographical picture. There's a lot of important messages that's that we can learn. It's about how you find your mission and how you uh, what is your mission is all about. Because he found his true mission. Uh, because he was one of the most successful businessmen in Japan. He was become to be the next president of one of the major trading company, but he decided to abandon everything he had in his life, all the success he had, because he realized this is very important. This is something he needs to pursue his life. So he decided to drop everything and start up from zero scratch. So that was the mission he found, right? And through this movie, you'll portray or you'll try to make you know think about what is your mission or what is my true mission. So finding a true mission in your life is very important, and it'll kind of contemplate makes you contemplate what is my mission in my life and the way how to pursue to find the mission. There is a way because he was so diligent. He was a very humble person. He studied so hard and he still is, but how do we find the true success in our life? And through that, is your true success, your success you have, or where you're standing now, are you living your mission or not? So that's the kind of question that we wanted to ask through this movie. It's not just about who he is and what he's done. It's about you, in other words.
So it was produced and played in Japan. But now, are you intent on wanting it to be seen in the States? Is that the
Uh,
intention?
so we already finished the circuit theater release in States. We are doing the final one is in Hawaii right now. So it just started this week, but it's going to end next week. So we did about 10 markets in US and one in Canada. Due to COVID situation, we couldn't do any bigger than that. But
How do
so
I see it now if I want to see it?
you have to wait for the VOD.
Say that again.
VOD, video on demand,
Okay.
iTunes, Amazon. I'm not sure if you're going to be on Netflix or not, but
Mm.
so VOD is coming out in January of 2021. So it's out of theater now. It's out, but
How long
yeah.
did it take you to produce it?
This one, we received the original story 2019, so about 2 years ago. We shot this film about 1 year ago. Took about a couple months to shoot it, and we got ready for the release in October. We've just been released in Japan. We had the number one or number two box hit office. We always get number one, number two box hits weekend. It's still playing in Japan. It's the fifth week.
So the question I guess I have is with
Mm-hmm.
all of this, with Happy Science, with the movies, with being so popular in Japan, why not the United States? Why is this something that people are not understanding or seeing or know too much about?
Because we haven't done much. This movie, we haven't done the movies in US until the three movies. So last year, I think was one of the first movie we released in US. So we just starting. In other words, we haven't started yet.
And so tell us about the other movie also.
Another one is called The Real Exorcist, which was released in May, but May it was the COVID was even worse. So we were in US only maybe 5 markets we were able to open, and 2 in Canada. In Japan, of course, Japan is always open, so we had about 200 theaters there. And this is about a girl. Her name is Sayuri. She is a clairvoyant, and she has the psychic power to see through people's mind and see through the problems they have. And she's working at the cafe, and she has a little sign said, if you have any free consultation here. So people walk into a cafe, I have this problem, I have another problem. So we go, it's like a short stories, combined together. And she goes into it, and she solves each problem. One of the big issue that we picked up was about suicide, miscarriage, and also hunting spirits, and things like that. So it's more like entertainment. It's very entertainment. It's a super girl, super psychic girl trying to help people. And again, there's a very important message through this. How to become a person like a hero. You don't have to have a psychic power to become a hero. You can become a hero in your community, in your family. It kind of shows you how to become a hero. The importance of being humble, with diligence, and it's all about love and gratitude, and caring. All these good messages are inside this movie as well.
Absolutely. So what is next for you?
So we have another movie. We have 2 movies every year in Japan, actually. 2 movies and 1 documentary in Japan, but we haven't really done much around the world. So my mission is to I'm still trying to bring these movies to the world, not just the United States, because my mission is to bring it to the entire world. So we're trying to go to Europe and Brazil and a lot of Asian markets. But due to COVID situation, it's been really, really difficult, this year. But so that's one mission, is to spread these movies continuously. And we have 2 movies coming next year. So getting ready for the next May release and also the fall release. I don't know how much we're going to be doing this in US, depending on the COVID situation and the theater opening situation. So we kind of, watching. Let's see how things
Why
go.
is that?
Because if the theater doesn't open, we probably have to go video on demand. Right. So it's trying to think about the strategy, the best way to go about. Yeah.
So is there something that you want to share with our audience?
Mm-hmm.
A website, books, the movies? What would you like to, take this time now and openly share whatever you like?
Sure. So, well, the latest movie is called Twice Born. So maybe I'll just share the website of Twice Born. It's twicebornmovie.com. twicebornmovie.com. If you go to that site, you'll get to see a trailer of what Twice Born is about. There's some reference books of Riho Okawa that kind of relates to this movie. So if you are interested in picking up some of his books, you can do. There's a link to Amazon. You can do some search on his books from there as well. And also, the VOD is coming soon. So if you're interested, please wait for VOD. And another movie is The Real Exorcist. Again, it's the same thing. realexorcistmovie.com. realexorcistmovie.com. It's very easy. You go to Real Exorcist movie, you get to kind of see what our concepts are, where we're trying to go from here on. And the VOD is already out there. So if you want to try to, take a look at the VOD, you can, watch this movie if you're interested as well. So I'll say twicebornmovie.com and realexorcistmovie.com. From there, do the search.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you have been marvelous. I mean, you have been very, transparent, open,
of course.
easy to talk to, fun. We have to learn. We have to experience different things. And
that's right.
I'm so grateful that you came today, because I didn't, prior to your being willingness to come on the show, I had no idea about happiness science. And I'm very, and I know people learn experience in different ways, right?
Right.
So some people are going to do it through a book. Some people are going to do it through a movie. Some people are going to do it through listening today. I mean, all different ways. And I personally, when we start talking about, let's say, politics, you're right. I mean, there's certain politics doesn't have to be bad. It's how we've looked at it, but that's a lot of things. We have to relook at it in new eyes.
It's a
right?
realization tool to bring happiness. Bring the realization of happiness. I try to figure out the best way. That it's a tool, I guess. It's a method, to bring happiness, realize it, on this three-dimensional world. And just thinking and talking about happiness, sometimes it just doesn't happen, doesn't realize it. So it's a groundwork, it's the hardest work that we all need to do. But I guess that's why happy science is involved in politics, because we care so much that we want to be involved in the groundwork as well. Not just talking about the higher concept, I
Well, we
guess.
have to work together. We have to collaborate.
That's right.
And there is a collaboration and a way of working together that we have to do that. Right. So that is one way. So what is your greatest gift to all of this? As far as you're concerned, what is your greatest gift that you bring to this whole thing?
My greatest gift. I want, it's not, I haven't achieved yet, but I want to become a little candle of light. So when I talk to people, I want to bring or make people contemplate or think about, what am I and what am I here, and am I happy? I'm not happy. If I'm not happy, is there any advice and tips that I can give to people just to light up a little torch in their hearts that, you are cared and you are loved, and anybody can become happy. It's just how you approach your life and how you think about your life and how you think about other people. So I don't want to become a big preacher, and that's not what I want to do. Master Hoka is the biggest preacher, so I just want to be part of this movement in happy science and share the happiness that I gain and I'm enjoying. And hopefully people would feel that, because how much I talk about it, you have to really grasp it and feel it inside of you and realize it. Maybe what Yoichi is saying, what he just said, these few words I practiced, it really made me feel better and happy. Maybe what he's saying is a truth inside of it. That's why I want to be a person like that. Every day, in every moment, I speak to the people at the cafe, a restaurant, cashier.
Well, when you stay in the light, when you stay in the joy, whatever you can do the best you can to stay in there, helps you feel better about things, right?
That's right.
And not negative and positive as much as you can. But of course, sometimes, things don't feel right. And is that negative or is that positive?
Right. That's life.
Really, when you think about it, it's how we look at it, right?
Yeah. Life is a training ground. We say life is a training ground. So you have to take in a lot of difficulties as well. There's going to be a lot of difficulties. It's a workbook of your life, but you have to challenge it, because God will never give us something that we cannot overcome. He'll never do that. He will never do that. It's all about your mind, I wouldn't say here, I should say here. It's all about your mind and heart, that you can overcome it, and you will overcome it.
Right. I often say to people, you lead with your heart. It's all coming from the heart, and the head helps you carry out the actions that the heart wants to do, right?
Yes, that's right.
So I really, truly thank you so much from my heart. Thank you so much for being here today, and for, being that light and that joy and that happiness, and, giving us a little taste of happy science and the movies. Appreciate it very, very much, and look forward to you coming back sometime.
Thank you so much for having me on the show. I appreciate it.
It's a pleasure. Thank you. You have an open invitation.
All right. Thank you.
And everyone out there, thank you so much for being with us today. We really appreciate it on our journey to learn more and to just understand the world around us a lot better. So thank you so much for being here, everyone, and we will see you next week. Bye.
You are tuned to the Nissan Communications Network. If you tuned in too late, you can always watch each program in its entirety or download an MP3 audio file of it in the archives section at nissancommunications.com. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Twitter, and like us on Facebook. Sponsored by Telestream's Wirecast software, StreamingGear.com, Carolina Apparel, and DeltaForce.net.